Welcome to The Explainer. We're about to tackle one of the biggest questions you can possibly ask. What are we, really? I mean, is there a permanent, essential you deep down inside? Or is that feeling of self, the one you wake up with every morning, just an illusion?
So let's start with this incredible metaphor. It just perfectly frames our entire conversation. If this life, this world we live in, is really just a temporary passage, a bridge, it forces you to ask who or what is actually crossing this bridge. And, where are we all heading?
Well, today we're going to look at two profoundly different answers to that very question. These answers come from two towering figures in human thought, separated by 16 centuries and thousands of miles. We've got the 11th century Persian philosopher Nasir Khusraw, who championed the idea of an eternal soul, versus the Buddha, who taught the really radical concept of anatta, or no self.
Okay, first up, Nasir Khusraw, an Ismaili sage from ancient Persia. Now, what's so fascinating about him is that his beliefs weren't based on, blind faith. Not at all. He built his entire picture of the universe on a foundation of pure, unshakable reason. He truly believed you could logically figure out the very purpose of our existence.
You can actually see his logic laid out here, step by step. He starts with a simple premise: a perfect creator exists. And, he reasons, a perfect being can't just create junk or something pointless or evil. It just doesn't make sense. So it follows that creation has to have a good, noble purpose. And for Khusraw, that purpose isn't about our temporary bodies or worldly success. It's all about the growth of our rational soul.
So Khusraw saw this clear split. You've got the body, the jasad as he called it, which is just this coarse physical vehicle. It's a temporary shell. But then you have the soul, the nefs. That's the subtle, eternal, and thinking part of you. That's the real you. So think about it. The body is just a tool that the soul uses to learn and grow while it's crossing the bridge of life. If you believe that, it changes everything. Every challenge is a lesson, and every good deed is a way to polish that eternal soul.
And man, this analogy just perfectly captures his whole idea. This entire physical life, with all its ups and downs, is really just the process of growing the soul. Your body, like the leaves and branches of a tree, is crucial for a while, but eventually it withers away. The soul? The soul is the fruit. It's the whole point, the lasting outcome of your life, and it's destined for a reality beyond this one.
Okay, now let's rewind 1,600 years and travel thousands of miles to the east, to the Buddha. He gives us a completely, and I mean completely different picture of reality. His journey doesn't start with a creator or with abstract logic. Nope, it starts with a direct, honest, and unflinching look at what it means to be human.
The Buddha's starting point is what's called the first noble truth. Life is dukkha. Now, suffering is the common translation, but it's a bit more than that. It's this deeper sense of unsatisfactoriness, a kind of background hum of anxiety that comes from the fact that nothing lasts. Not our happiness, not our health, not even our own lives. Everything is always changing.
So, what's causing all this dukkha? Well, the Buddha's diagnosis wasn't some kind of divine test. He said the cause is right inside our own minds. It's our fundamental ignorance about how reality works. That ignorance leads us to crave, to want things to be permanent when they can't be. And that craving makes us cling desperately to things, people, and experiences. This whole cycle, ignorance, craving, clinging, is the engine that powers our own suffering.
And this brings us to the absolute core of it. While Khusraw saw an eternal soul as the hero of our story, the Buddha said the very idea of a permanent self is the villain. The doctrine of anatta, or no self, says that this thing we call me isn't a solid thing at all. It's more like a process, an illusion, created by a temporary bundle of physical and mental parts that are always in flux, kind of like a river that looks like one thing but is never the same water from one moment to the next.
And right there, that completely dismantles Khusraw's starting point. If there's no creator, then there's no grand divine purpose for us to fulfill. The universe isn't some project with a goal. Instead, it just runs on natural laws of cause and effect. The point, then, isn't to perfect a soul for the next world, but to put an end to the suffering caused by the illusion of self, right here in this one.
So here we are. This brings us to a fundamental disagreement, a true fork in the road in how we can understand what we are. It's a major clash between two incredibly powerful and logical worldviews.
On one side, Khusraw is telling us your job is to perfect the self. Your soul is real, it's eternal, and this life is the training ground to get it ready for what comes next. But on the other side, the Buddha says no.
Your job is to see through the self. The very idea of a self is a trick that causes all your pain, and the goal is liberation, nirvana, waking up from that dream, right here and now. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment below, I'd love to hear what you think. Your support really means a lot and helps me keep creating content for you all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
So where does this epic showdown leave us? Is one of them right and the other wrong? Or are they maybe just two very different maps for navigating the same territory of human experience?
What we have are two fundamentally different projects for your life. Path 1, Khusraw's path, is an act of construction. Your life's work is to build, to polish, to perfect your immortal soul. Path 2, the Buddhist path, is an act of deconstruction. Your work is to carefully take apart the false idea of the self to find true freedom and compassion for everyone else who's also caught in this same illusion.
Now, this is what I find absolutely fascinating. These ancient debates are echoing in our world today, right now. Khusraw's idea of a rational soul trapped in a body, well, that's remarkably similar to what the ancient Greek philosopher Plato was saying. But the Buddhist concept of no self finds a surprising and pretty powerful ally in a totally different field, modern evolutionary psychology. You see, many scientists today, like the writer Robert Wright, argued that our strong, intuitive feeling of being a single, coherent I might just be a useful trick, a story our brain evolved to tell itself because it helped our ancestors survive, cooperate, and pass on their genes. This CEO self is great for making plans and worrying about our reputation. But the point is, natural selection designed our minds for survival, not necessarily for seeing the truth.
And that brings us right back to that fork in the road, but framed for our modern world. It leaves us with a final and pretty profound question to think about for ourselves. Is the purpose of your life to build up your soul, or is it to deconstruct it? The answer you choose doesn't just shape what you believe, it shapes how you live every single day.